And here we go back on the Check Swing podcast with myself. I call myself Jay Chris, but as you can see, is it right there on the thing? My Twitter handle and my Instagram handle is Jay Watson Radio Man. And of course, the star of the show, who's always like donned in the Sweet Phillies jersey and the hat and stuff like that.
This is the Saturday night special.
And it seems like every time we're on, I'm wearing this. Every single time because I just get home in time to jump on. But that is my man Miguel Santa, and he doesn't have a nickname for me today because I think we've changed that in a sense. But welcome back to the Check Swing podcast. And we are talking about Olympics and all that good stuff. But we got a lot to talk about today, and we actually have a very special guest on with us today, and that is Miss Camara Jenkins. And she is the assistant athletic director of operations. That's a whole lot to say. The assistant athletic director of operations at Agnes Scott College. Welcome to the Check Swing podcast. Welcome to the Check Swing podcast, Miss Jenkins. Can you still hear us? I don't think she can hear us, but it's all good. We'll figure that out. So right now, we're coming up on a week of the Olympics. Competition has been fierce. A lot has been going on. And we have another week to go. And there she goes. But Miguel, I'm going to ask you a question. Because when we started this whole journey, you talked about the NBA and how you're not a big fan of the NBA anymore, right?
Right.
There is an event, a basketball event in the Olympics, and it's three on three, and it's faster. It's a sprint. Today was the first day I saw it. What do you think about that? I mean, it's a little rougher too. Actually, Olympic basketball period is a little rougher because it seems like the international referees don't really fall victim to the flop calls as much as the NBA referees. But have you checked out any of the 3-on-3 basketball, and have you been able to enjoy that at all?
I saw glimpses of it, but not enough to make a quick judgment of it. But I know it's Olympic basketball as a whole. Definitely, kind of loose with the fouls or, not calling the fouls. And I think that's what, to me would make the game more exciting. It's just like sometimes with baseball, like some people say the game's too slow, and sometimes I think if the umpires would just like call strikes, like they did back in the day, it would make the game go a little bit quicker,
Yeah, this is true. It could. But right now it's like, the competition is fierce. Team USA the basketball team is not good. Team USA is first in the medal counts right now. As of right now, Team USA is first in the medal counts. And as we have Miss Camara Jenkins back with us, can you hear us now?
Good to go.
There she is. And like I said before, as I was attempting to say before, Ms. Camara Jenkins is the Assistant Athletic Director of Operations at Agnes Scott College, and we're going to be talking about that very shortly. Welcome to the show, Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. I was just talking to Miguel about some of the competition and some of the things going on in the Olympics. We touched upon when we first started this show. Miguel and I got into a debate about NBA basketball. And he just doesn't like I'm going to just say that he didn't say this, but I'm going to say the quote unquote softness of the NBA now compared to what it used to be.
It's not a sport now. There, you can quote me directly. It's
actually,
right.
I actually forgot that's what you said. I kind of put a mental block on that part of it. But I think we were talking. I think he's enjoying Olympic basketball and especially the 3-on-3 basketball a little bit more than what he does the NBA now. With you, let me ask you, have you been watching the Olympics? Have you had a chance to, because you actually just got a very brand new position that we're going to talk about in a second. But have you had a chance to check out the Olympics? I'm a huge Olympic fan. I'm just like a super fan of the Olympics. I watch it all.
So I love the Olympics. It's a good thing that it's covered by so many different networks, because I can wake up at 3:00 in the morning and watch a few games, or watch tennis, watch swimming, watch gymnastics, watch the USA lose for the first time in since the worst team, the USA basketball team. So yes, I have been tuned in to the good, bad, and the ugly of the Olympics.
Yeah, and it feels like the world is catching up.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of the first week of the Olympics. It's always the medal count is always tight, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second week is kind of when the U.S. takes over, and and I think a lot of that is due to track and field, honestly. But let's talk about you for a minute.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about you for a minute. You are the assistant athletic director of operations at Agnes Scott College. Now, there was a journey getting to that point, but let's first talk about the position that you have now, and how you got to this position, and what is the assistant athletic director of operations? What are you responsible for?
Cool. So, newly placed into this position, extremely humbled and excited to be here as of July 1. This position encompasses a lot about game day operations. We have some outside rental agreements, so I handle that responsibility, being the point of contact for those renters that coming in for the pool. For example, the Atlanta Dream uses our facility as their practice facilities. So managing that relationship. We also have a relationship with the Atlanta United and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I manage that as well. So it's just a lot of game day operations and making sure behind the scenes things flow logistically and they flow smoothly. So that's what I do. That's the easiest way to encompass everything that I do into one good sentence.
So the Atlanta Dream, you said uses the Atlanta Dream is for those that may not know, is the WNBA, Atlanta's WNBA team.
Yep.
Here in Philadelphia, not too fond of Atlanta right now in Philadelphia. To be honest, at least me. I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't know, but
no, I'm a diehard Sixers fan too. We were at the games with our Sixers jersey on, telling people off, was walking out. So what? They lost,
Yeah. I know somebody that was down there that lives up here that was down there when the series ended, and he said it wasn't good for him to be down there. It never
is. They're diehard fans down here too. They're not as rambunctious as Philadelphia fans are, but they're diehard fans. Like when they love their teams, they love hard. I mean, their license plates, everything is red and black. They cars, black and red. I mean, they go all out for this teams here. So,
they're still doing the Dirty Bird down there?
Yeah, they are. Even though it's an Eagle.
Are they really still doing the Dirty Bird down there?
Even though it's an Eagle outside there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
That's crazy. That is crazy. So let's talk about your journey a little bit to your current position. You started before the show. We talked about you're from Philadelphia, Germantown, Lincoln. Tell us about your high school life. Were you an athlete there? Were you planning on being in the position that you are now? Well, first, let's answer the first question. Were you an athlete? And if so, what did you participate in?
I was an athlete. In high school, I played basketball and I ran track. I participated in track and field. Track and field, I did all 4 years. In basketball, I did 3 out of the 4 years. So I am a former athlete. I did go to school at Millersville University, is where I got my undergrad degree from, in business administration with a minor in AFAM studies. I ran for about 3 weeks at Millersville. I think swimming and the temperature drop was the killer for me. So it's a lot colder in Millersville than it was in Philadelphia.
Really?
I actually came home my first semester. After my first semester, I was like, Mom, Dad, I need a coat. Like my first real coat in I don't know how long. Wow. And I was like, they didn't care. They was like, no, you have to run, these 2 miles and then you need to do 50 push-ups, 50 crunches, and then run back. I'm like, it's 2 degrees outside. What you mean? And so for me, I think it changed for me. And I wasn't that passionate about basketball for my own personal reasons that I didn't pursue it once I got to college. So I, let sports go. Not that I wasn't passionate about it, not that I wasn't still in love with the idea of what team sports can teach and the confidence they provide, to me, to people around me, to people struggling that need some structure and what team sports can provide to people. I was still in love with sports. I left college after 4 years. I finished in 4. I wasn't staying not a second longer. And I came right out of college into my first job, which was Vanguard Investment Banking.
Let me stop you for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
You finished in 4?
4.
You weren't on a J. Chris plan, huh?
No. That's not the way my parents' money was set up. I had 4 years.
Mine either.
4. It was 4 years. I was finishing 4. I finished in May 9th or May 10th, whatever day we walked. I was done.
Now let me ask you this. Let's take another step back real quick.
Mm-hmm.
What role did high school athletics play in your life?
So I went to Germantown Lincoln Motivational High School. I told you that. I graduated 8th out of my class.
Nice.
And the running joke is that I was a popular nerd because I played sports, right? Whereas though when we grow up in the concrete jungle of Philadelphia, it can sometimes be difficult to try to stand out and say, I'm smart or I'm this or I'm that. And sports helped me to toe the line, basically, to say like, yeah, I'm smart, but I play sports too. So I'm kind of mixing in both worlds, right? So I'm gaining the confidence that I wouldn't normally get if I was just a nerd. You get what I'm saying? So it helped me personally with self-esteem issues, with confidence, with knowing that I may not know something, but I'm not going to give up, or knowing that I'm not going to always win, but having the right mindset to say, I lost this round, but I'm going to still win the battle. So for me, that's what sports taught me. It taught me determination. It taught me the grit of, really just putting your feet down and going for it. Like, okay, when I was in high school, for example, I only weighed 120 pounds. I was bench pressing 105 in high school, right? And that's because I told you I played basketball and I ran track. I also was the manager of the football team. So any athletes that were hurt, what they do? They stay in the weight room. I'm in there too. Like I can lift that too. Here I am, 120 pounds, bench pressing 105. So for me, it helped me become a well-rounded individual. It wasn't just, book smarts. It wasn't just street smarts. I had a mixture of both. And that is what sports did for me.
Yeah, Miguel.
No, so transitioning from being an athlete to now going into you volunteering, because I believe you volunteered 10 years at the Mark Trail Flying Eagles AAU track and field or track club as an assistant coach.
Yeah.
So what did you bring from your playing experience that you brought into the coaching realm?
So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Let me see how I got to Atlanta. I got to Atlanta. I had just got out of a relationship and I wanted something new. And I picked up and I moved to Atlanta, 25 years old, right? And I worked at a job and I did not like my manager and I was ready to quit, right? And my mom and dad told me, you still have a place to come home. Like if you don't make it in Atlanta, you still got a place to come back to. Well, I didn't necessarily want to do that, but I was on the verge, like literally 2 weeks away from handing in my resignation and leaving. But I came across a coach for Mark Trail Flying Eagles. We call them shoemates. And when I went and seen those kids that came from neighborhoods like I grew up in, ones that didn't have the same access to things like I did, and to see the head coach go above and beyond for these kids. He would take the money out his pocket sometimes and say, oh, here's dinner, here's lunch, right? The biggest thing that I brought to Mark Trail Flying Eagles, in my opinion, was the ability to connect with the kids, right? I didn't just, hey, do this. I listened to them. I learned about them. I learned about their background. I was able to implement a nutrition plan, right? I had the kids eating so much better, which in turn made them more productive. They were PRing everywhere. I promise you, over 75% of our team went to the Junior Olympics the year that I started. Right.
Wow.
And it's and that's, I have a ton of people, I promise y'all, that I can tell y'all right now who will be like, her comeback is crazy. I can lose weight like it ain't nothing because I know how to properly eat and how to properly train. Do I do it all the time? Maybe not. The fact that I know how to do it and I've seen the fruits of my labor just continuously motivate me or encourage me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna help these kids, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. And I think that's what I brought to Mark Trail. Mark Trail was down here in the South, where I'm from, the North, right? Back to that temperature gauge.
Man.
Right? They don't know.
The heat's different down there.
They don't know no real cold down here. So it came, I was like, oh, I mean, I'm hot. Like, I'm getting a tan out here with y'all. But they were so engaged. They had parents who cared. Some parents, you know, they want to do it, but they can't necessarily afford it. And just being in an environment and in a community where it felt good, it felt real. It was like, I dig this. So hence why, even moving away, I would still come down here and help the track club, or if it was something that I could do behind the scenes, like being exposed to grant writing, or being exposed to, you know, helping get officials come to do the different track meets and different things like that. I still am very active and engaged in helping because I know the benefit and how much they help the families that they help or that they engage with.
Do you still coach now, or?
I do. I mean, I don't have an active role in terms of being there, but with my new job being in the same county as Mark Trail Flying Eagles, who knows if I don't show up at practice one day and just, you know, but they have an annual track meet in May, Memorial Day weekend. Annual track meet is huge. It's athletes that come from all over the world, honestly. Some that come from as far as New Jersey, but you get Mississippi, Tennessee, Florida, other parts of Georgia. It is over 1,000 athletes out there, and they are, I mean, it counts towards some of their qualifying meets. They have every event you can think of. They got the shot put, they got long jump, triple jump, high jump, they got discus, they have javelin, they have everything, right? Which in Philadelphia, I wasn't exposed to. The most I was exposed to was shot put and long jump or triple jump, right? They have javelin, they have discus, they got everything down here. And they have people that teach these kids. They have coaches that will come volunteer and teach these kids how to do these events. And that I love because we didn't have that up north. So I came down and coached a few kids in shot put. He done went on to college, got a whole scholarship. And I'm like, see, look at what I'm doing to pay it forward. Like that for me, you know, it makes you feel good about what you do.
Yeah,
absolutely. And what you're talking about with the experience, I also ran track in high school, and I can remember I went to two different high schools, one in this area, one in further out in the suburbs, and it was very different. It was very different experience. Here, like you said, long jump, triple jump, shot put,
maybe a high jump, but that's about it.
Maybe a high jump if you can get somebody from the basketball team to do it, and that was it. And of course the running. Right. And then when I went out there, I mean, we had a pole vaulter, and you know I had to try it, right? So I don't know if I ever told Miguel the story, but I'm gonna tell the story to the world. It was Penn Relays. It was Penn Relays week, so we were actually on spring break.
No.
So we were having practice during the week, and I decided, you know what? No. Maybe I could be a pole vaulter, and I'll just try it, right? So I pick up the prize. How you hold it? I decide I'm gonna take off down, run. You know, you gotta hold it like this. You run. Boom! I hit the thing, put the the pole in the thing, whatever the thing's called, and I get up, boom, and I just get stuck straight up. And the next thing I know, I'm falling back. and it was concrete on the way. I just put my hands and my legs out, hoping I would like catch the part of the pit that comes out, man. And one time I decided I was going to try to jump a hurdle too. That ended up worse, and I just thought I was able to jump the hurdle. I hit that hurdle and everything with it, and I didn't even realize the hurdle was turned the other way, so that it won't even fall. Anyway, it's not about me.
Track Olympic sports were not my ministry. I stuck to baseball. I stuck to football. And I was like, you know what? I hope we're a passing team because you don't have to run that much. I hated running. Absolutely hated running.
Well, okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about Agnes Scott. Okay. And your role as the assistant athletic director of operations. Mm-hmm. Okay. You touched upon it a little bit earlier. But let's talk about your previous experiences that led you to that position, because you're an athlete. You work with kids. You're an athlete coach. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the steps you took to get to this position.
Got it. So, I told you the assistant coach volunteering, right? And at around the same time, I even brought my husband down here with me to go see the meets, and he's seen it in full force. Like, oh my gosh, like this is a well-oiled machine. Well, he was the one who encouraged me to go get my master's in sports management at Drexel University. So that's how I ended up at Drexel. I went in the program, and it was right in the midst of me moving from Atlanta, Virginia area, Maryland. I was down there. So I did the online program. I love Drexel, love the atmosphere, loved my classmates, like literally had the best class, hands down. My only downfall was that I didn't have any experience with graduate assistantships or anything like that, because everything was in the Philadelphia, Delaware, Jersey area, but I lived in Maryland. So I didn't really have any connections. So that was where I kind of failed in terms of having a network or having some folks that could say, oh, go over here or go here. Because what I learned now working through Georgia Tech and Agnes Scott, which I'll get to Georgia Tech in a second, but working with them is you don't necessarily have to be a part of the school to still be a graduate assistant. But I didn't know that at Drexel. And so that was the disconnect for me, is not knowing that I could still get some type of graduate assistantship or some volunteer experience while doing my master's to give me an opportunity to get a foot in the door. So fast forward, we finished the program. I graduate, with a very high GPA. And that's not really important, but
yes, it is. Yes, it is. No. What was it?
I had a 3.9 GPA.
There you go.
A 3.9. And so finishing. Listen, I used to get on Miguel all the time about finishing with a 4.0 each semester. That's neither here nor there. But
next question.
But okay, so I finished, graduated, but I'm still working at my previous job. You get what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even go through them to get the tuition reimbursement. I just went through them, and I got, I still worked, and I went and got my master's degree because that was something that I was passionate about. And it was in an area that I wanted to get my degree in. So I'm still at that same job with this degree. Now I'm trying to figure out how to make the two work, right? I get down here in Georgia, I get a soror, and she's like, well, actually, I signed up. I was doing all types of, it's this thing called like Volunteer Match. It's a website. And you basically can put in your zip code and kind of what you want to volunteer in. And they'll, put you in different things or send you an email full of different volunteer experiences that they have available in the area that may match what you like. I found the Super Bowl, volunteer for the Super Bowl, volunteer for the Special Olympics here in Georgia. Best experience I've ever had in my life, hands down. Special Olympics, amazing opportunity. If you have an opportunity to do it, I strongly suggest. They have all the sports. They have basketball. I've helped with basketball. I've helped with bowling. I've helped with the opening and closing ceremonies. It is by far the best experience I've ever had, hands down. So I'm volunteering for all these things, but I'm still not getting that kick over. Like, well, what am I supposed to do with all this experience? Had a soror who knew someone who worked in athletics at Georgia Tech. He called me. He was like, I really can't, hire you because you've already finished your program. So I can't even hire you on as a graduate assistant or something like that. But what I can do is maybe try to figure out a temp position and bring you on. Well, I get the temp position at Georgia Tech, their athletic department for operations. Here I am, right in the midst of where I want to be, right? Because I'm in operations. That means I get to see everything, the full run of show from the beginning to the end. All of the hey, we got to put out the barriers to block off the streets so that cars can't come down during game day. Or we out there at 5:30 in the morning. The sun ain't even come up yet, but we out here. We putting these up. You got on your uniform. You are making sure that the ADA seats are correct. You're making sure that the EMT workers are there. You're making sure that the referees are there and that their food is taken care of. And the coach's elevator is like, it was everything. And I participated in football, men's and women's basketball. I did their swimming meets. I did baseball and softball. I would go early. I would stay late. I was so engrossed in learning the process. Right. And I think that's what this new generation, they go from here and they want to get to the top. No, I want everything. Give me all the details. Give me all the gory, dirty details so that I know what to expect if something goes wrong. In particular, in one of the women's basketball games, there was a power outage. You got to know what to do, right? So give it to me. Tell me what we got to do. Okay, go over here, do this. And so I learned all of the intricate details of how to run a game of show for more than just one sport. And so here I am at Agnes Scott doing the same thing on a smaller scale. This Agnes Scott is D3, whereas though Georgia Tech was D1. So I'm just on a smaller scale, but still just running the full game day operations, learning from the top to the bottom of how to just make it run smoothly, making sure that all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted. And so that's how I got to where I was, through networking, through volunteering, through being in the right place at the right time. I was granted this opportunity. Like I said, I'm extremely humbled to be here. It was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of nights where I didn't think it would pan out this way and that I would have a degree that I paid thousands of dollars for that I wouldn't be able to get to use or utilize the way that I needed to. But I'm here and I intend to take full advantage of this opportunity and learning and growing and just being better, and making the program better, so that, the athletes get the full experience, regardless of it's a D1 or a D3 organization, just getting a full experience of being a student athlete and just enjoying still playing the game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a journey right there. That's a journey right there. And of course, we gotta give you your flowers while you're here. We're not gonna wait for you to be gone. You got a lot of time left, so it ain't like. But we're gonna give you your flowers while you're here. This is excellent. Y'all seeing excellence right here. You're seeing what hard work, what dedication, what determination will do for you, for the young folks that are watching, for the folks that are watching that just trying to figure out, what do I need? Hard work, dedication. Floyd Mayweather said it too. Hard work, dedication. All right, dedication, determination. Go ahead.
For the record, I had a 3.7 GPA, so I wasn't that far behind her.
No, I don't think any of us were, because we weren't going to let each other fail. Again, there's teamwork, making everything come together. No man left behind. That's not how it works.
It was a very good class, and we came from like different. We had one guy that came from middle of the state. We had. Where did William Hughes come from? He was from the Southwest,
wasn't he? Like
he wound up in Buffalo. Now he's like climbing mountains. He's in Colorado and stuff. One of our classmates, he does like a photo dump like every 3 months. Mm-hmm. He's in the French Alps. He's like killing geese in like Switzerland. I'm like, this dude is all over. So.
Across the world. We like, where are you going? Like, yeah.
Is he using the degree? Because Were y'all studying mountain climbing and killing geese and stuff?
Well, I mean, it's part of sport. I mean,
it is a sport.
It is.
But I will say, and that's where I came into Drexel feeling like I didn't belong, because everybody else were in positions, like whether they were coaches or whether they were like Paul. I think he already had his JD, so he was just trying to figure out how to become like a sports agent,
right?
Or everybody else I felt like were in their positions, in things that this degree would help enhance, where I had the passion but not the actual straight path. And so I finally feel like I'm where I should have been in Drexel, but I know everything happens for a reason, so I'm not gonna harp on that. But that's where it was for me. Like Will was at YMCA, right? So he was in, you're just getting this, additional information, maybe help you fundraise or something like that. So I just was like, I know all of these things. Like I do all of these things, right. But I just never really had a job to be able to put the degree to good use.
It's funny how in this world you can have all the experience doing all these things, but they'll want you to have the degree in it. It's funny. It's funny how that works. But you guys went and got that degree, so I'm the only person here that doesn't have that degree. So next show I'm going to have that degree. You watch.
Okay, now.
There you go. Bam.
I'm gonna have it in the week. Next week I'm gonna have it.
We got to check the legitimacy of it, but it'll be. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I might write it on a piece of paper on my own, but I'm gonna have something. Let's have a little fun. Let's talk about the Olympics, okay? Because you ran track, and you're a competitor. You ran track, played basketball. You're a competitor. I
played flag football too, if that counts.
You played what? Flag football?
Mm-hmm.
It counts. It's a sport. I played football today. not gonna talk. Yeah, see, he's laughing, right? Yeah. He's laughing.
So we coach at our baseball academy close by. So I'm the head coach. He's the assistant. So I kind of volunteered him to be like the fourth player to make teams even. So of course, he responded. You had like Ice Cube and
it was like it's on. Let's go.
It's on, right? Let's go. So I think by the fifth play, he's like, I'm just running like slow pattern routes. I'm just running circle routes.
No, it was by the first play where I wasn't the quarterback. That's what it was. The first play I wasn't the quarterback. I was tired. I'm out of shape.
I was about to say everybody aren't the same. I mean, even now, with our 6 coaches, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get up and we're gonna, walk around the track." I was like, "I would go, but I ain't bring my sneakers today." I'm not there. I mean, now granted, I will periodically hop up and train for a 5K. I'm not a stranger. It's just that I make excuses.
You gotta want to do it.
Right. Yeah. It's like for me. It's Wednesday. It's like I don't do stuff midweek.
No, I've pounded my body. Like I've ran track for a very long time. I've ran competitively. I ran in the pin relays all the way up until I was 25 years old. Like my body is just different, and I'm not forcing myself anymore. Right? I'm not about to go there. I know that I don't have Olympic dreams anymore. That's like I'm not doing that again. So I don't feel the need to, press myself into you gotta do this and you gotta get down. No, I'm never getting back to my time. Like it don't matter.
You weren't trying to get to Tokyo or to Sydney or to Rio.
None of the above.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was probably like 12 or so, I had Olympic dreams of playing baseball. And then, well, we ain't even gonna talk about that. But let's just say, as far as the body's concerned, I'm far removed from 6 a.m. practices. I'm a good 20 years removed from 6 a.m. practices, and I'm not working that hard again. I don't have a reason to. But let's talk about Sha'Carri Richardson real quick, because you ran track, she runs track, fastest woman in America. She will not have an opportunity to display her talents for the world. Yet. In this Olympics, she won't have that opportunity, unfortunately. I thought they should have put her on the team as a relay participant. The fastest woman in the country. Why not? But anyway, when you heard the news, what was your reaction as a former runner?
I was disappointed. Because we worked so hard for that one little thing to just take you down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we look at life, and it's not just track, it's not just this. We look at how hard she worked to lose her mom, and to grieve how she felt the need to grieve, and then it be used against you to take away something that you strive to get, whether you worked real hard or whether it just came naturally at that age, right? Because she's amazing, right? I love the expression, how she's able to express herself, the hair, the nails. I miss that about Trent, right? That was the thing that we could do is I'm going out there today with purple hair. Like, who cares? Like, go out there and you having a good time. She's having a good time. She's not riddled with injuries and all types of stuff yet because she's young. And I think this is a great time for her. I just was disappointed that they were extremely rigid in their ruling that she wouldn't be able to be on the team.
Yeah, I felt like, go ahead, Miguel, go ahead.
No, and I think that was kind of the debate because we had another coach on, and she was kind of more like, well, the rules. You're not supposed to smoke. You're not supposed to take anything during the Olympics and stuff like that. But going back to like the mental health aspect, it's like not only did her mom die, but if I'm not mistaken, she found out from a stranger.
Yeah, from a reporter.
Yeah. So it's like that's a double whammy.
Let me tell you something. You can't talk to anybody about grief. Okay, everybody grieves differently. My brother was killed, right? And there's nobody that can tell me, oh, it'll be all right. Or, oh, you're only supposed to grieve for 2 years. He has 6 children that'll never get to see him again. He won't be able to walk either one of his daughters down the aisle when they get married. So you can't talk to me about grief, and especially from your mother. Everybody got that feeling about their mama. Y'all know you get sensitive when people start talking about your mama jokes. That's not what we do. It's not about our moms. And for me, like, I'm sure that hit her super hard. So for somebody to be like, oh, well, the rules, but that's not how it works. Yeah, tell me that when you're in her shoes. Tell me how you feel in her shoes. And if that's the method that you think is going to help you, how can you fault her? I'm not saying it's right. She probably could have chose something else. But in that moment, that's where I just feel like they're robots and they're not human. And that bothers me.
Yeah, in that moment, it's like you're not worried about the rest of the world.
Right.
You have something that you have to deal with, and what the rules of the world don't matter to you at that point. You have to deal with something else.
But they say that this was an enhancer, but everybody in our community knows that this is not an enhancement on anything.
Who wants to run after taking? You know what I mean? Who wants to go out and run, let alone a 2 and a 4?
And that's what makes me wonder who they have on these boards and on these on these platforms, because if they had me up there, I'd have been like, let's go experiment, because let's have a hypothesis and let's put a controlled experiment out there, and you tell me how you react and how you move after doing this action, right? And tell me if it's really an enhancement on anything. Like, that's what I'll wait to see, right? I mean, I understand Marion, right? I love Marion. Another heartbreaker, right?
That one hurt.
Oh my goodness.
That one hurt.
That is a completely different substance and a completely different outcome.
That was a performance enhanced. That was the difference. That is an actual proven, right?
Exactly. This one is not an enhancement. So I always was stuck on it. Like, who is on this committee? Who is on this panel? And telling these people that this is an enhancement because they're lying to them.
We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, and I told Justin I think that this is actually a good thing that this happened now, because number one, Shakara's she's real young, so this is not going to be her last Olympics, and she only has 3 years for the next Olympics because of COVID, so that timing is kind of right. But I think it's gonna start the conversation that you're talking about, what's going to be allowed, and it's going to get rid of that mystique of, because you have medicinal marijuana, it's legal now in 39 states, and now it's a global thing. It's going to start that conversation. So I think by maybe not the next Olympics, but maybe the Olympic after that,
you will be surprised how little progress we've made over these Olympic games. in being 4 years, how they're still stagnant, or like you say, it's going to take them 8 years, an 8-year life cycle for them to come to the modern 2021. You get what I'm saying? They're going to be 8 years behind when they should have been doing this back in 2021. But in Sha'Carri's defense, she gonna be hungry. She gonna be like Allison Felix when she comes out.
That's funny you say that. She's gonna be hungry. That was funny.
no funny. She gonna be hungry though. She gonna be unstoppable. They're gonna be like, we should have let her run, because now she really is a problem. Now she really is unstoppable. Especially if she takes care of her body. She need to go look at a LeBron or what's his name? Tom Brady plan.
Oh, don't say Tom Brady.
I hate Tom Brady, but I said his plan. I ain't saying nothing else about Tom Brady except his plan for his body and taking care of his body, and the money he puts into making sure that he is in tip-top condition to still be able to play at the age he's playing.
I was so much looking forward to seeing her run against Allison Fraser-Price.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And we'll probably never, because she's getting up there.
They run in the pin relays. So,
they do, but did we even have the pin relays this year? I don't even think they had them. I didn't know if they had them.
Any attention to it, but I seen a lot of, when I was coming up, a lot of Jamaican athletes were running, and her being in LSU, they could also run separate from their teams, I think.
Right.
If I remember correctly. So they could have technically run against each other. And depending on if they do have it, that's definitely a fan favorite that I think they could make happen.
You're right. I didn't think about that. She could have ran unattached. Well, I know. Could she have run unattached? Because it was the rule that was broken was, I don't know. I had to look into that.
Has anybody ever done
that? I know I've seen people run unattached in other meets. I can't remember if I've ever seen it in the Olympics.
I have. Because listen, so another sort of topic. Bill Cosby used to run in the pen.
That's right.
Yes, he did. She did.
So, I remember that Cosby episode.
I've seen him with my own eyes in high school, and he was running in the pen relay.
And he used to shoot off the gun for the old folks race, I think.
Yeah. I told you I ran it up until I was 25, and that was called the corporate relay. I've been there. I've seen them run unattached. I don't know, again, what the NCAA rules are for LSU and for her having run attached versus the international rules for Jamaican athletes. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is or if it's possible, but I have seen it done. I just don't know all of the details.
Technically, Russia is doing that right now.
Yeah.
There's no Russia in the Olympics. It's the Russian Olympic Coalition or something like that. Because the whole Russian national team is in trouble for
doping.
Right. So
wait a minute, you're allowed.
And then there was the one year, I think it was Barcelona. There was the unified team when Soviet Union broke up.
Sorry, doesn't fall under this category because the USA is there. Russia is there because they have athletes that are unattached, running not unofficially, but in different races. But not like one whole team coming together. Like they might have one person over here running, in a swim, and then they might have one. Because I don't even think they have Russia isn't playing basketball this year.
They are. I don't know if they're playing in basketball, but they do have a volleyball team.
Gotcha. I don't think they're playing basketball. I don't remember seeing anything basketball related, but
I'm not sure about that one.
But other sports where they got one person doing fencing and they got one person doing this, or they don't have 33 athletes that the USA has. So that's why Sha'Carri couldn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna still go as a whole USA team," and the USA delegate said no. So that's how she can't circumvent this whole doping thing.
Well, she's already kind of I don't want to say making bank on this, but I mean, you saw that commercial with her, and
And I'm glad Nike's still behind her. You need listen. Who don't want somebody to still be in their corner when you down on your luck?
See, but and me and Justin had talked about, was it last week or the week before? We had talked about I always have this thing about when corporations back people at certain times, just like with where was Nike at when Kaepernick? So again,
they pick and choose when they. It's how it affects their bottom line. Listen, nobody can change until their bottom line is affected, and that's real life. Like that's life in general, right? Like, you know, I think they finally did come out with a Kaepernick campaign. It wasn't immediate, but they probably. I pray that they learn from the Kaepernick thing that this is the stance that they took based on what they learned from going through the Kaepernick ordeal.
I'm sure they had a lot of research going into it before they made that decision.
They did, and that's
what I mean,
long, right? But hopefully that started the conversation, right? We said we want the conversation to start, and we want it to continue to grow and be engaging in the people. So I hope that conversation got started, and they said, you know what, we need some people that look like Kaepernick on certain panels and certain discussions and certain boards here at Nike, so that we can offer. I mean, think about the stance that all of those companies begin to take, like, you know, we support Black. I mean, I ride through Decatur, which is where Agnes Scott is located, and I see Black Lives Matter signs everywhere, right? So again, we're still dealing with things that they dealt back in the civil rights movement. Like, it didn't stop. It doesn't stop. We got to keep moving. Like, and I feel like, hopefully, like I said, from the Kaepernick ordeal, that they learned something and implemented something. Hopefully that's why they were able to jump on the Sha'Carri bandwagon sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think too it's helping. Like, I mean, we heard what happened with Simone, you know, last couple of days, and you know, when I read the story that she, you know, was being looked at, you know, for a medical condition or whatever, I thought she injured herself, but now they're talking. You know, she may remove herself from the team competition for the rest of the Olympics and may not even compete, you know, next week.
Yeah, I think she has pulled out of the individual. Yeah,
right. So now we're talking about the mental health. You know,
I got like 5 things for that.
Go for it.
Okay, so first and foremost, I want to applaud her, right, for taking this stand, because so many times we think about women and we say we wear S on our chest and we sick and we still got to do this and that and this and that, right? We look at Michael Jordan, who had the flu when he was playing, right? We think that, oh, you got to still keep going. And, you know, again, this bottom line. I don't care about your bottom line, because what we've learned in working for corporations is if you die, they're going to replace you before the ink dry on your death certificate, right? So let's just say something happened to Simone Biles. You don't think they got somebody waiting in the back to pull out and be like, yeah, go ahead. Oh, we got a spot for you. So she has to protect herself. And the other thing to that is what I've noticed about her. She hasn't been bitter at all about this whole situation. She's been jumping and cheering her teammates on the entire time. She is going down in history as the greatest of all times. Why not? Back to this team, no man left behind. Why not bring your teammates on and say, go ahead, get the same glory that I got. Go ahead and get an opportunity to medal, right? Because you may not ever get this opportunity, especially if she decides to still be around. They're going to go to her for everything. So here is the opportunity for me to step back by my own admission, not by, oh, you have to be sat down, you got to do this, right? So I'm helping them build their confidence up. I'm cheering them on. They don't think anything less of me because I pull back, because I'm giving them an opportunity to move forward. Last and final piece about Simone. Y'all got to think about that rape. The rapist, the doctor.
Yeah.
She can't sit out yet. She just can't, because and I feel like, my opinion, that maybe if she says no or she goes away, then the case goes away, and there's not going to be any justice for all of the victims of the doctor. And I think she's staying around as long as possible.
Is that case still going on?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was convicted.
He was, but they still need restitution. They still are doing all types of things. And it's they said it was like hundreds of women that came forward. Because it wasn't,
and not just gymnastics.
Not just gymnastics, and not just the Olympic team. It was the whole college that he was like. It's so detailed. It's so like they tried to bury so much of it that, you know, like you like, yeah, I can't just sit back and let this slide.
So let me ask you this, Camara. I was thinking about it. Then that's what messed me up.
I'm calling her Miss Jenkins the rest of my life.
So how do we, in your opinion, because y'all got the graduate degrees in sports management and all like that. Oh,
stop it.
But I'm posing this question to the both of y'all. How do we keep that from, because Naomi Osaka, she did what she did, pulled out of French Open, pulled out of the out of Wimbledon, citing mental health issues. She wants to take care of her mental health. Now Simone Biles, and these are both big time athletes. Naomi, the highest paid tennis athlete in the world right now. Excuse me. How do we get in front of these issues? Because they're not the only two that have mental health concerns in the sports world, right? I used the example today in the few conversations I had. Camara, you're a Sixers fan, as you said earlier. Could you imagine if in the playoffs, Joel Embiid said he's not going to play for the rest of the playoffs, citing mental health issues? In this country and in this city, but in this country, the ESPNs, the FS1s, and whatever sports outlets, they would have killed him. They would have killed him if he decides to do that.
I'm gonna tell you why they would have killed him if he came out with it, for the inconsistencies. Right? You compare him to Naomi Osaka and Simone. They've been hitting it out the park since they stepped on the scene. Joel Embiid choose to show up for 3 games, then he give you 3 points, miss 12 the next game, then he might show up for 2 games. Right? Now, if you had a valid reason to cite mental illness, right? And then this is the problem in our community and our culture anyways. How many men say that ain't no doctors tell me nothing? I ain't going
90% of us.
Exactly. And herein lies the problem. Joel Embiid, if he really has some problems, I don't think that anybody should ridicule him for recognizing that he has some problems or some mental issues that he needs to deal with. We as a society need to stop making it seem like it's a bad thing. It's a very good thing if you can recognize that you need help and you seek help.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I definitely agree with that. My question is how do we, or even can we, get in front of that before it becomes but how do we help Simone Biles before she gets to this point that she needs to pull out of competition for mental health? How do we help Naomi Osaka before she has to pull out of the French Open and Wimbledon? How do we help the next athlete coming up, before it gets to that point?
I was about to say, now Simone Biles, I know that she's had a rocky upbringing, right, with being adopted and all of the ups and downs that she went through. So her issues may have stemmed from childhood, and it's possible that some of ours do stem from childhood. I think my mom always told me you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we need to listen more than we talk, right? And I think if we listen to these athletes, if we paid attention to these athletes, they would give us the telltale signs that something is wrong, that something is brewing, that we need to pay more attention to. Oh, they're a great athlete. They may have a bad, upbringing. They may have a lot of things going on at home that they, are not really telling us, but they're showing us in their behavior and how they're reacting to certain things, right? I read a book one time about a kid who at the end of practice would just go out of nowhere and tackle a kid. Kid wasn't paying attention. The kid wasn't playing with him. He would just tackle the kid, right? Later found out that he didn't want to go home because the lights was out and his mom didn't pay the bill and didn't have the money to pay the bill. So he would prolong staying on the field with people because he was scared of the dark and didn't want to go home by himself. It's telltale signs there. And we have to start paying attention to the children. We can't say, oh, we love our athletes. but we don't really know anything about our athletes.
We don't love our athletes. I mean, you know, as coaches, you love your the kids you coach and stuff like that, but we don't love our professional athletes. And it's funny you say that because I can remember, I don't know how many years ago it was, but I can remember Arian Foster that played for the Houston Texans, a running back, very good running back too. And he got hurt, and this was very close to the end of his career. And I remember this is when I was getting on Twitter and reading stuff on Twitter and all like that. And he tweeted something about, you know, the people that were concerned and not really concerned with, and I tweeted, not like he read it, but I tweeted back at him like, you know, you got to understand, most of these people, they don't really care about you. They only care about what you can do for them on Sunday.
Yep.
Outside of that, they really don't care about your well-being. So don't expect, since they love you on Sunday or whatever day of the week that you're playing on, that they're going to love you, that they actually love you. They don't give a damn about you.
I mean, think about all these athletes who have, they say, psychotic breaks and all these other things. These things are there. They just need, like, we need to do better. Like I said, listening to our athletes, but athletes and people in general need to surround yourself with the right people, right? Like I talked about us at Drexel. It may be 12 of us, but we were so close. Like, we still keep in contact. We may not be on top of each other, but if Miguel reach out to me and say he needs something, if Brian, if Will, if any of them reach out to me and say, hey, I need you to, here it is, podcast, get on this podcast and talk about you and big yourself up, which we not really keen on doing. I'm here, right? And I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone, and that's keeping the right people around you, because that's how you begin to peel back the layers for folks, right? Because we probably could have caught some of these people before they went down the wrong path, or we probably could have gotten them help or encouraged them, like, dog, I'll go see a therapist. Like, I'll go to the therapist with you. You know, sometimes it is about hand holding. Sometimes it is about normalizing getting help. It's nothing wrong with seeking help. Just like it took sports for me to realize it's nothing wrong with being smart. I'll be smart for the rest of my life, and there's nothing anybody can take away from me because I worked my ass off to get those grades and to get these degrees that I have. They can't take that from me. So I shouldn't have cared as a young child about being smart or graduating 8th out of my class. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I think maybe some of these professional organizations, or even before that, really, if you could instill a mandatory, like I have a therapist to talk to, even if they're not showing, like you have a day or, you know, a time. Go see the therapist. You need to talk to this therapist. That's just part of the deal. That's, you know what I'm saying?
It's a part of your contract. Yeah,
absolutely.
Here in Georgia, I know since the COVID thing happened, my daughter's school, they go see a therapist at least once a week, right?
Really?
And they talk about their feelings. Are you feeling happy, sad? You know, and they have to press the emoji that relates to how they're feeling. The therapist sees it. The entire classroom doesn't, right? So now if my daughter pressed yellow, they're going to say, well, why are you feeling melancholy? Or why are you feeling this? Or why are you feeling that? Right? Because they want to know what's happening, whether it's home, whether it's school, are you being bullied? Right? They want to know. So they have it since COVID. Once a week, she has to see a therapist. Second instance, I know that the Atlanta Dream has a therapist on staff. No, for a fact. Good. So, like you say, it has to start, what we say, at home. So in these professional sports, home is the team. So it has to start at home. It has to be somebody that's encouraging you that it's okay to seek help if you need help, because you're no good to the team if you're no good. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you're struggling, if you're hurting, if you are struggling with something, just burying it, it's not going to help you in the long run.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, especially with the case with the trainer, that it finally allows that the states can look at it and actually start activating stronger laws to protect our kids. You know what I mean? Because believe it or not, I think it's like 46 states still have child marriage listed as it being legal.
Wow.
Legalized child marriage. Now, of course, it's like, all right, on the surface, that's insane. but only a few states. And I think even in California, if I'm looking at it right, a minor at any age can still marry in California. So there's still so many loopholes in the laws that have our children vulnerable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like with going back to the trainer, like how did he have access to all these children?
Right. I mean, he started in college. I think he was at like Michigan State or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they coming in thinking like, oh, I'm just coming in for a wellness check, and you molesting them.
Right. Go back to Sandusky. Same thing. I mean, they sponsored programs, millions of dollars worth, and it wound up just being a haven for his crimes. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that with all the mental health that's now being kind of put out in the forefront between Shakar, between Simone Biles, and we
need to normalize seeking help. We need to normalize going to therapists or psychiatrists or a priest if that's going to help, or your pastor if he's a counselor, or a counselor. Like, we need to normalize those things, and we need to maybe put stronger checks in place to make sure that these people are not molesters or, whatever they categorize these folks as. But we need to make sure that we're protecting. We are advocate for our children always, all the time, right? If a kid come to me and say, you know what, she looked at me funny, I'm going to advocate for that child, right? Until I find out that child is either lying or telling the truth. But the fact is, I'm not going to just let it breeze past me, and I had an opportunity to change it or to do something about it.
Yeah, there you have it. And we're talking to Miss Camara Jenkins. Y'all gonna laugh every time now. Talking to Miss Camara Jenkins, Assistant Athletic Director of Operations with Agnes Scott College down there in Decatur, Georgia.
If you talk to somebody down here, they'll tell you Decatur where it's greater. Don't listen.
Decatur where it's greater. Yeah, you say that.
You know, so my wife is from Brooklyn and she went to Morris Brown. So I always tease her about it. And when she gets mad, she's from the South. But when she's animated, she's straight up from Brooklyn. It's so funny.
People down here, Atlanta is a melting pot. There's so many people from so many different parts.
That's what I'm hearing too. We were looking at Charlotte, and I think a family member of mine moved from Charlotte to Maryland because they said it was a bunch of retired New Yorkers.
Yeah. Everybody is down here.
I was going to ask you about that. I was actually going to ask you about that when you were talking about the fan base down there. Because I know that the area is a melting pot. So do they really gravitate to these teams, or?
I know it's a melting pot, but there's still a lot of ATLians, right? Because they talk about it in their songs. These people support their own. I will give Atlanta that. If not, they support their own. You like where I'm at. I'm like a little bit outside the city. I'm only about 15 minutes outside the city. Over here, you can easily see Falcons, like red and black cars, black and red cars. You know how they do the Chargers where they got like the one strip going down? Like, they are insane when it comes to repping their teams. When you look at these, I mean, because don't get me wrong, they got over 100 and something counties here in Georgia. So these people will travel from far and wide to come to their sporting events. They love their city. Like, they love their city. So it's a melting pot of folks, but don't be surprised that Atlanta ATLians will come out for they folks. Like, I've seen, Patriots fans, and you got the Carolina fans because that's an easy, quick move over, from either one of the Carolinas. You got Floridians that are here, and you got all the folks from up north that come down and love it here. Because a lot of people retired down south, Right. So they come down here and they still gonna rep their teams too. I mean, there's a lot of people that are season ticket holders, but they're not Falcons fans.
What?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being a season ticket holder to a team I don't like.
They want to see their team, right? Especially if they're in the conference. You play them at least 2-3 times a year, right?
Right. You can play them once at home, and then you can sell the rest of the tickets.
That's right. They sell the rest of the tickets.
It's an investment. Absolutely.
Yep.
Smart.
Well, Miss Camara, I want to thank you. Actually, let me do this because I don't want to end it. Just say, do we have any last words that we want to speak before we get on out of here?
I appreciate the platform. This isn't something that I would have normally done. So again, stepping outside of my comfort zone to be here, right? To encourage somebody else, hopefully, just to let them know that every road isn't easy, but if what you want, you have to speak what you want into existence. And I put this in an atmosphere for years. I have a mentor who told me the first 3 things out my mouth to him when I introduced myself was my name, that I wanted to be a Delta, and that I wanted to be an assistant athletic director. And I promise you all, I became a Delta. And I am an assistant athletic director. He said, if dreams realized was a person, you're looking at it. And so I just would encourage other folks, if they're listening, that you have to speak what you want. It doesn't always look pretty. It isn't always easy. Just like they say about relationships and marriage, right? You got to put the work in. You want what you want, but you got to put the work in. And I am proof that hard work pays off. So
there you go. Hard work, dedication. There you go. Miguel, any last words?
No.
Did you have a quiz for me, Miguel?
I do have a quiz for you.
I know you.
So usually what happens, Ms. Jenkins, is I usually throw up. See how I did that?
Yeah. Take a sip of water. Go ahead.
So we're primarily baseball coaches. So I try to challenge my coach in certain areas. So I will provide a guess. I provide a jersey number and some basic achievements of a player, and he has to guess who it is. So for this week,
which goes on a lot better than
he got the last 2 in one guess, but he might actually get this. I don't know. All right, so let me share this. I think one aspect of it is going to. All right, I have it posted. Can you bring it up on the main screen, sir?
There you go.
All right, so this particular athlete or baseball player, we'll say, played 17 years. And yes, he had only one number, which is very rare.
Well, it's 61. Ain't nobody got that number.
Not anymore. He played for the Milwaukee Brewers, Atlanta Braves, the Colorado Rockies, the New York Mets, the Minnesota Twins, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Florida Marlins when they were in the Florida Marlins, San Francisco, and Washington. So he was a 2-time All-Star, won the World Series in '97, was a Silver Slugger, and was a World Series and National League Championship Series MVP.
Give me the teams again.
You always do it. Every time it's more than 5 teams, you're like, "Can you repeat that? Are you serious?"
Because I'm always waiting for the act for what he did, and then I forget what the teams were. But go ahead.
Washington, San Francisco, Florida, Arizona, Minnesota, New York, Colorado, Atlanta, and Milwaukee.
And who?
Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. Wow, man. And he won the World Series in '97. That was the Braves, right?
Nope. Braves were 90.
That was the Marlins.
That was the Marlins, yeah. Marlins won in '97. The first, they were the quickest expansion team to win a World Series against the Cleveland Indians.
Man,
Ms. Jenkins, do you happen to know
what position did he play?
First name Roger.
No.
Robert.
No.
No.
What position? If you tell me that, I'm gonna get it right away, right?
Probably.
Yeah, well then tell me. Because I'm 61.
So here's a trick, right? You see on one of his achievements is that he was a Silver Slugger, which is what?
The batting average.
Right. So his lifetime batting average was only 221.
So, like when you first, and I know this is not together. The first person I thought of was Dante Bichette, but I know that's not it because he never played for some of them teams.
He only played for 3 teams, not the 17 that this guy played for.
And then I was like Roberto Alomar, but he wasn't 61, and he played for the Indians, and that wasn't one of the teams.
Yeah, he played for San Diego, Toronto.
I'm stuck.
So here's why this is a trick question or a trick guess. Silver Slugger is a batting award, right?
Right.
This was a pitcher, which means that he won the Silver Slugger as the best hitting pitcher.
Bill Dickey? No.
Bill Dickey? No, I think he passed away about 30 years ago. She's Googling all this.
He won it. I'm trying to think of some of the better hitting pitchers out there.
What World Series was that?
97.
97.
Oh. Okay.
So it wasn't Charlie Huff, was it?
Absolutely not.
That's the only pitcher I remember.
He had a cousin that played for the Yankees that was also a pitcher.
Oh,
bam, you got it.
Ivan Hernandez.
Yeah.
Ivan Hernandez. Right.
Living La Vida Hernandez.
Wow. And then he did hit well for a pitcher. You're right.
Yeah. Oops. And then I think he
we hit the button at the same time. Sorry.
Oops. And then I think he gained like 98 pounds and then started living life. Or as they say, he started having more fun than most people.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you, Miss Camara Jenkins, Assistant Athletic Director of Operations at Agnes Scott College.
And Drexel alum.
3.9 GPA.
It was a 3.98, but I was just
I love it.
I love it.
That's why I'm proud of that. And then I'm gonna really just shut my mouth. I suffered a miscarriage and got pregnant all during my time at Drexel. So my 3.98. I'm that one.
Well,
amazing. I'm
claiming all that.
Well, people that are still with us, make sure you subscribe to the New Twist Radio YouTube channel. Make sure you check out newtwistradio.com. Of course, on Friday morning, you got the Friday Vibes Morning Show with yours truly, playing all the hits that you're going to love. And, of course, you can hit us up on our text line at 215-486-0335. And check out the Check Swing Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Actually, just Instagram and Twitter. At Check Swing Podcast. And of course, you can email us at checkswingpodcast@gmail.com. For Camara and Miguel and myself, we're going to get up out of here. Appreciate y'all for hanging with us. Appreciate Camara for spending the time with us. We'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.